Here's the topics I will talk about today. And 1 month ago, I already got the program today. I saw, oh, there are economic experts here. Definitely, he will talk about the Chinese economy. And also, we have Russell Taylor, this kind of industry expert. Definitely, he'll talk about China too. And I was thinking, what should I talk today? And so today, I hope my content will be not so overlapped with them. And I try to find another perspective from a Chinese side and to talk about China and to make you awake after lunch. First about the industry. This is the January to November, China's softwood lumber imports by countries. And yeah, all the people know Russia is still the dominant country, and it still keep high-speed growth. And Canada dropped. Finland, right now from the Chinese custom figure, it's 30% decrease, but according to the Finnish custom, the estimation is 40%. But like you guys said, even this year, our volume dropped a lot, but it still reached to 1 million. And also China will be the #2 destination for Finland. And also, you can see almost the red because the volume decreased, and the total volume right now for the softwood lumber, according to the Chinese custom, the drop is 1.2. But here I didn't update about the log part, but for the log part, according to the first 3 quarters figure, the log part increased, and let me check. Yeah, the log part increased. Sorry. But according to the log part, the Russian log dropped 8%. According to the first 3 quarters. And now later, I will not talk much about the industry directly, but I will talk about something which is related to our timber industry, such like foreign trade situation of 2018, because it's really related to the trade war between the US, also our development in the future. This is the 2018 figure published by the government, and you can see our total foreign trade value increased. It's hit a high record, and the export value, it's also the highest growth rate since 2011, but the value is not the highest. And the total value of import, this is our first time to reach $2 trillion US. And for the trade surplus, it's something very important. Our trade surplus lowest since 2013. But let's go to the last item, trade value with US. You can see the trade surplus, it's still go up, and the value reached to more than 300 billion. And the trade surplus with US accounting for more than 90% of the whole trade surplus value of China. So this definitely would be something Mr. Trump will, or his team will negotiate with our country. And the trade value with Russia will keep high-speed growth, definitely. But what's for 2019? Because the foreign trade, it's also very related to our exchange rate trend in 2019. And everybody know the new negotiation will be launched today and tomorrow with US. Just a personal prediction or thinking, I should say, because according to the January, our RMB exchange rate performance, maybe it already shows some compromise for the exchange rate. But this is good for our business because we exporting to China, and if the RMB could be a little bit stronger, definitely a good thing for us. And next part, I will talk about several significant policies related to industry. They are not industry policies, such like wooden construction policies, green material policies. You know, all this industry policy you found from China looks very promising, looks very positive to the whole industry, because like finished timber, it's from the certificated forest, it's renewable material, it's totally green, which is very good for the environment. So if we just look at the industry policy, everything looks very good. But the China market is still ups and down, because we also need to look at other things. First part is the environmental protection policies. This is something, today a lot of people already mentioned about China's collapse last year, and that's why the volume decreased a lot. And this is one very important reason why last year's volume collapsed. Because of the blue sky protection wall in China, even a very small city, maybe thousands of small workshops has been knocked down, and also some big manufacturing province, they cut down the production. And all these, even for our ordinary people, especially in the big city, we do not allow to play firework anymore. So anyway, the government tried to do everything to and decrease the smoke, and help to win this protection war. And here's some history about the protection wall. And actually, for the storm started since the March of 2017, but it influenced very strongly in the end, since in the end of 17 and the beginning of 2018. But 2018, the second half year, what we can feel in China is this environmental policy is not so strictly compared to half year ago. I think one of the main reasons is it really impacts our economy so much. And also because of the change in the heating system, and in the end of 2017 and in the beginning of 2018, it makes some northern cities lack of heating. So this influenced the economy and also influenced the social stability. So the government tried to also ask the local government to reach their smoke targets realistic. So what's the outlook for 2019? And first thing is, second round environmental supervision by the central government is under planning. But personal thinking is the policy implementing will be flexible according to the country's situation. So maybe first half year, it will be strict again because the winter almost go away. But maybe it will also change due to the economy, the GDP growth, although people do not believe our GDP growth. And the logic inside is social stability. Excuse me. Sorry. Except keratitis, I already also got cold. Not in good shape, so that's why I'm not like to portrait you. You see. And the logical insight is social stability. Definitely, it's the most important thing. No grand type of employment. This is important for the government. And also reaching GDP growth target. Maybe always people said the statistics from China is not so reliable. But anyway, we can understand like that, not hurt the economy heavily. And the third thing is environmental protection. Why it is so important? Because it's from the top wheel of the government. And our president already made some promise in public. So this is something I believe he'll implement. But for 2019, it will be flexible according to the real situation. Okay, second part is the GDP and the macroeconomy. Yeah, this is something no one believed, but I still put there because it also shows some trend. The government target for this year, this target was given last year, so they know they will keep the economy maybe in a low speed, and normally for our style, we will reach the target anyway. So maybe this year, 6.4, this is something predicted. And when we talk about the China economy, from our side, the economics always said we have three carriages. One is export, another is consumption, the third is investment. And for the export, this is something hard to use right now because America sees us and the trade war. So although last year, a lot of people in the industry, we feel strong depression, RMB depression pressure for that. And this is also one of the main reasons people stop buying, because the big trader, the big player in China, they are not sure, because they are doing the future business. They are not sure when their products arrive, what RMB will be. So in the last year, I think a lot of industry people, they think our RMB exchange rate will break 7. But this year, in the beginning of this year, it seems the RMB go to another trend. So that's why I personal feeling this might be some kind of compromise between the trade war negotiation. Let's see. And so export is hard to use because Mr. Trump look at you. And the second thing is the consumption. Consumption is something Chinese government try hard to promote during the last 2 years, and we finally reduced the tax for the ordinary employee and the tax supervision for rich group, and also fight with Daigou, it's kind of private smuggling. And also the social insurance rate might be cut down also. But consumption is something not so powerful compared to the export and investment for China, honestly speaking. And the third thing is investment. Oh, I'm so sorry. Third thing is investment. It's mainly for the infrastructure, real estate industry. And this is, we always talk about in China, because real estate is drug for China. We use it again and again. We shouldn't use it again, but sometimes also feel finally maybe this will be another old solution for the economy. So after 2 years tightened policy for the real estate market, at least currently some cities already show the loosened signal for that. And the second part about policy is monetary policy. Something good is in the second half of last year, the leveraging became stabilized leverage. So this is good for the industry because the industry market, they are thirsty for the cash flow. But even until now, honestly speaking, still the cash flow is quite tight. Although you can see, this is RR cut. R is a reserve requirement ratio. Anyway, the cut function is lower the financing cost and inject the liquidity to the market. 2013, no. 2014, no. But 2015 is was very special years. 4 times RR cut and 3 times interest cut. And 2016, no. 1 time. And 2017, no. And 2018, last whole year, the central bank gave 4 times RR cut. And you can see the liquidity, 2.3 trillion RMB. It's a big money, but still for the industry, for the market, it didn't show much influence. And 2019, although right now it's just February, but in January we already have one-time cut. And the thing is, the prediction, maybe in 2019, we might have at least 3 times cut. And the important thing is, interest cut is maybe possible in 2019. This is something very important because back to 2015, these special years, what happened in China? Our stock market flied and our real estate market flied. So this is something positive for the real estate market, but use the drug again, maybe. But anyway, it's good for our industry because our industry is strongly related to the real estate market. Okay, the fourth is the labor policy. Why talk about the labor policy? Because it's very important for our clients. Most of them, they are private companies, and they are employees. I'll explain why it's important. There was one new rule announced in last year. Its social security insurance will be collected by tax department since 2019. This was something very important for the private company. Sorry. Why it's important? Because for China, a lot of private companies, they didn't pay the social security insurance according to the real salary. So they pay much less than the real salary. So if it will be collected by the tax department, which will means they have to pay all the things according to the salary. And otherwise, it's kind of crime. So this was something very important and a very kind of negative news for our industry, because the business is not good, and the private company, our client, they feel, oh, it's even higher. The labor cost even higher. It's hard to run the business anymore. But the real implementing right now is in the end of 2018. The government announced that this policy implementing will be postponed, especially for the enterprises employees. So it hasn't been implemented yet, but it will be. I'm not so sure when it will be, but anyway, it's a negative thing for our clients. But why it will be suspended and postponed? It is because actually, this kind of private companies, entity, economy, they solved our migrants' employment. So they are very important for the social stability. In last November, our president also made a presentation in the Private Enterprise Forum and emphasized the importance of private enterprise and they will make them try to survive. And so third thing is the social insurance rate might be cut down in the near future, already in the discussion. And then I will talk about the population policy. You might be wondering why it is also related to our industry. First, let's see the birth rate. Birth population last year was 15 million, and 2017 it's 17 million, so less 2 million baby, and the birth rate 10,000%, and also the why I talk about this is you might also heard from your clients, because one of the important industry for the finished timber is children furniture in China. And you might hear from your clients the business is not good, blah, blah, blah. It's also one of the reason the birth rate, it's not so good. And the second thing I would talk about the marriage registration. 2018's figure hasn't been come out, but I have the 2017. It's kind of trend. Marriage like Finland, it goes down, and 7% decrease compared to 2016. And why marriage is important, because in China, we also have this kind of traditional, if two people marry, and normally they need to buy or at least hire a rent apartment, normally they will purchase apartment and do the decoration. So this is also something important for our industry. And divorce registration, the trend is increase, and divorce may be good for our industry because they need two homes. And also, because of this, maybe our 3 children policy not far away. I cannot say how close it is, but really not so far away. Okay, outside of China. Outside of China, today, Mr. Yang, right, the economic expert, he talked about if we do it shortly to conclude what's the outlook for 2019, it's increased uncertainty. And I would like to say, high proportion of this increased uncertainty is caused by this magical person, I would say. And in the beginning of February, America announced that they will quit from INF trendy. It will be suspended, and Russia followed. Blah blah blah. It's kind of maybe a new arms race might have begun. Not sure. And also, he announced that he'll meet with Mr. Kim in Vietnam. It also showed the good relationship between U.S. and Vietnam. Anyway, Russia, Vietnam, it's not only Russia and Vietnam, it's also something related to China. So these all is also given to high pressure to China, to our already softened economy. And I think what America tried to do is what I like to, because the trade war is not for war only, it's mainly for the national interest. So they are trying to stop our growth method and also try to give more friction to us, to our development. And this one I just added this slide today. So the figure doesn't update it because I also saw Mr. Russ Taylor talk about global softwood export to China. And why I took this slide again, I would like to say something differently. For this slide, maybe it's not for Finland. Please look at Russia and Canada. You can see the 2018. Since 2018, the Canada, the increase is very dramatic. And actually, before I joined the Wood from Finland program, I was the international softwood lumber procurement manager in a state-owned company. And so I'm kind of witness and involved in the flourishing years of SPF. And but in the very beginning, when we are promoting the SPF, the clients show what 2x4. This dimension is so weird. And the length, 2.44, this kind of length is also very weird for the Chinese client. And then SPF, what's the story? You know, because America back again, and we also foresee the SPF volume will be decreased, and we try to find some supply from other regions. And also later, since 2012, we start to promote the Nordic timber from Sweden and Finland. And at that time, it's also something very hard. The clients ask, what? 44 by 100? What? 22 by 100? What kind of dimension it is? And the length is so weird as well. But the thing is, still things grows. Sorry. And I would say since the 2014, you can see the Russia grows very rapidly. It also it was also influenced by the Nordic timber actually, because in this growth part, a proportion is from the western northern of Russia. This is something very similar, close to the Nordic timber. And here, because we'll talk about the Chinese market outlook, and why I showed these two slides is kind of history. And you can see the figure from 2002, and if we compare 2017, it's 21 times compared to 2002. And compared to 2008 even, it's just 10 years ago, 6.8 times. It's just the 2007 figure. And also the dimension evolution. What I want to say is it takes time for China to accept new things. But in a really short time, the imported softwood lumber for China is really quite in short history. And the cost performance is very important. I should say the most important factor for the Chinese clients right now. Wait a second. Maybe you can guess. Okay, here's my outlook. Again, I would like to I like this sentence. Once you go good, it's hard to turn back. I still think Finnish and Finnish timber are unreplaceable. Although people laughed the last time when I talk about this sentence, you see, you stop buying. But even we stop buying, but the volume still reached to 1 million. It's something unreplaceable. And the most important thing is the cost performance. Because cost performance is not only because of the supply, it's also kind of competition between the global suppliers. It's related to the currency, related to your supply, your annual allowance cut, also a lot of things. So for China, industry need to survive first, so we will be cost sensitive as before. But anyway, even last year, I still feel last year is kind of quite bad time for the industry. But still 1 million cubic meter, it's also some signal. The market, the Chinese market is huge for Finnish. It's quite small piece of cake. High-end ordinary customers are still there. And the big production company will have more price power for both sales and purchasing in China. It is because during the environmental protection implementary, a lot of small workshops has been knocked down, and so the big one which survived, and they will get more power, the price power. And personal thinking, it's quite brave prediction, but my personal thinking is the RMB exchange rate might be positive for the timber industry in 2019, because the trade war negotiation, anyway, there's one side need to be compromised. So I think our government will choose in that direction. And no unilateral up or down market. And because some Finnish sawmills, they told, I hope China could come back, but not with this price. But the thing is, I still feel there will be not go down always and go up always. The market business are always born in the desperation. So if everybody is scared about the industry, maybe it's some new thing will happen. And pay more attention to e-commerce of China. It not means like for the Finnish sawmill, you have to do the e-commerce business online. This is something, please pay more attention to the clients who is do e-commerce business. Such like furniture industry last year, the furniture company who used the old style just sell in the retail store. This kind of company last year, 20% decrease is very common for them. But for the e-commerce company, which furniture company doing business online, most of them still in good shape. And once again, I would emphasize the logic in China. Social stability, important, and reaching the GDP growth target, or we can understand the economy growth. And the third is environmental protection. This is important because it's from the top wheel and other things. And thank you so much. And the last also, happy Valentine's Day. Today.